Hey folks, this is Monk and we are back with another episode of From the Canopy Film Show, and I'm joined as always with my co-host. We got Cornelius, aka Evil Corny.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, man?
Not much.
I hear you. I got some movies in, man. So that's what we're gonna do today, folks, is talk about the movies that we've seen. Most of these are current stuff you can see in theater, or things that we're just catching up on that were still pretty recently released. And first one I'm going to start off with is a film called Opus. And this is billed as a horror musical film. And this film is directed by Mark Anthony Green. And in this film, a young writer travels to the remote compound of a legendary pop star who mysteriously disappeared 30 years ago. Surrounded by a cult of psychopaths and intoxicated journalists, she soon finds herself in the middle of his twisted plan. And our main person in this film, we got Ayo Edebiri, and she's going to be our young writer in this film. We've also got John Malkovich on deck, Stephanie Suganami, Amber Midthunder. It's interesting. I think this is the first thing I've seen her building since, the Predator film. So got Murray Bartlett and Juliette Lewis also pop up in this, and some others. Because I didn't see this, so we're going to have to defer to Corny for his review of this film. And what did you think of Opus?
Really enjoyed the film. I don't know of too many people who actually saw this, but it reminds me of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in a way. But if somebody like Elton John or Prince or David Bowie were like Willy Wonka. And what's happening is John Malkovich is playing, it's the main focus of this film. He's playing this character called Alfred Moridi or whatever. And like I said, he's almost like Prince. Kind of reminds you of Prince or Elton John or David Bowie or somebody. And after 30 years, he invites he releases a new album or whatever, and he invites these influencers to his compound. It's pretty much messed up like Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory type deal that's going on here. He is running a cult, and there are some interesting things that happen on the grounds. Without really spoiling anything, I thought it was real interesting. And Ayo is, I don't know, she's slowly becoming one of my favorite actresses. But she has the least amount of history with Marodi or whatever, because she overall, I think she's might be the youngest. Oh well, it might be another influencer that's a little bit younger than her, but she's like a journalist. Juliette Lewis is playing Carla Strone, and she's almost like a Wendy Williams or Oprah type. Like I said, it's real interesting to where they get put there, and this is like I said, it's almost like Prince, Michael Jackson, or Elton John. Like the biggest pop star ever just disappears for a while, and all of a sudden, he invites a small group of people to his place, and it just, everything just ensues after that. And I think it might be a real limited release, and I want to probably catch it again before it's out of theaters. So I had just that much fun watching it. I think that movie is just that good. It's good execution and everything. Good amount of comedy, good amount of suspense, everything that's happening in it. But Malkovich is Malkovich in this. I had a lot of fun with it.
All right. So the next one I'm going to bring up is All You Need Is Blood. And this was interesting because I do have it showing here as 2023. I guess that's might have been the initial premiere. But I think there was an 2024 release for it, and I think it might be just now hitting, the digital rental and sales. So that's probably why it's kind of buzzing right now. But this is a horror comedy film, and in this film, when a strange meteor lands in his backyard and turns his father into a brain-eating zombie, a 16-year-old aspiring director teams up with his friends to create the ultimate student film. And this film stars Neil Sethi as Vish, who's a friend of Bucky, played by Logan Riley, who is our young filmmaker in this film. It also has Emma Chasey, Mina Savari, Eddie Griffin, and Louis Mastello also pops up in here. And we got a few other bit parts in this, including Walter O'Keefe. Well, I believe, yeah, he plays a dad in this.
Yeah, I think.
So yeah, I did just catch this man right before we started the show. And this one, oh yeah, Eddie Griffin, yeah, I mentioned that too. So this kind of is a one of those films that's about making a film in a way, also a little bit of a, teenager. It kind of reminds me a little bit with some of the setup like 8 millimeter,
Mm-hmm.
with that film where we had those young filmmakers, doing their thing, and in the middle
Not
of
eight
that,
millimeter, Super 8.
Super 8,
Eight,
yeah,
eight
that's what it is.
millimeter is a whole different
Oh yeah.
story, movie with Nicolas Cage. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's a
yeah,
whole different setup. But
yeah.
yeah, Super 8. Yeah, Super 8 where, they're making this film and then just something a bigger thing just happens and kind of, interrupts in the middle of that. But for the most part, this is an enjoyable. This is a horror comedy film, and it's wild because in the beginning we kind of get some prehistoric footage of this phenomenon, as it had happened in that prehistoric time. So then we flash back to modern times, and this kid trying to get this movie together, and that same thing that happens in the prehistoric times happens to his dad, and it just creates a lot of chaos because at the same time you got this dad who's zombieing out in the midst of him making this film. He's casting people, he's trying to have meetings and get some funding. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole lot of chaos going on, and then just the chaos of them dealing with all that and still being crazy enough to try to make this film. That's kind of wild, man. So this film, man, it has a lot of that indie spirit in it, where I feel like this filmmaking, they're having a lot of fun putting this together. Like you can see in the practical effects, some of the performances that the actors are all into it. It doesn't feel like this is above them. Like even Mina Savari, she's getting down with the craziness, and it's just really
She's
wacky.
disappeared. I hadn't seen her in
Mhm.
years in anything. By
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah, it's just a wacky, crazy time of a film, man. You know what I'm saying? So, what you think?
had a lot of fun with this. A friend of the show, Creepy Girl, it's supposed to be on Trick or Treat Radio tomorrow, and this is one of the films she's covered, and she was kind of bragging about it. So I was going to give it a shot just to see what it was all about, and
Hmm.
I this is probably the biggest laughs I think I've had out of a film in years. Um, it's parts of it that's just crazy, and right now I can't really think of what to compare it to, but I had a
Hmm.
lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching it. It's almost
Yeah,
like if Bowfinger was like a horror film or something, you know.
yeah, a lot of like slapsticky, just horror kind of goofiness that's going on, and like there's a moment where there's like a zombie turtle, and you're like, all
Yeah,
right,
that's what I was fixing to say. That
it's like all right, this is crazy enough, but then it just gets crazier and crazier, just like
but they never really
wild.
explain. They never really explain how that happened either. All of a sudden, you see this giant turtle just show up.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild, man. It's just wild, man. It's just a nutty, like as crazy as you can get, man. I don't know if it's going to be one that I'm going to be like itching to go back to, but in the moment, man, it's definitely a fun time. Like I'm really curious to see what these people who made this pull this off. I think yeah, Bucky LaBouffe, is he directed? Is he related to Shia at
Hey,
all?
I was gonna ask you to look it up because
Yeah, but I wonder what this guy could put together, given like a bigger budget and just some more serious or But maybe this is his angle, man, the comedy, man. So just give him a bigger budget, maybe a bigger story to tell too as well. Maybe instead of just this small house invasion, make it a town invasion or something bigger. I'm just curious to see what they could pull off. You know, with this imagination, it's definitely like I said, this thing is low budget, but they knocked it apart. Like the gore, the practical effects, they look really good. There's a little bit of digital stuff, but even that looks good. I feel like the cinematography is pretty good. And what they've managed to get out of the actors, to help sell this film, it is a pretty solid release, man. You know?
yeah, it's. I had never heard of it, and like I said, Creepy Girl, was covering it this week and
Hmm.
suggested I watch it. And like I said, this is probably the most fun I probably had,
Hmm.
at home watching anything in a while because it's parts of it. This film is just wow. You get
Yeah.
it's real gory, and if you sensitive to blood, I wouldn't watch it at all, or sensitive to
Hmm.
zombie turtles, or
That is a
just
funny. That's a funny aspect because our director he's sensitive to blood, and even the fake blood freaks him out.
really.
And this, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Remember?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he's crazy. But Amina Savari, she's been active pretty much the whole time. Just hasn't been in a lot of movies I think that are broken through to mainstream. I mean, even if you look at her 2024, she was in Prey, which is interesting. It's like it's crazy because Prey was made twice. I think it's the same damn movie, and there's no because the Idris Elba did the Prey with the lions. And then Ryan
okay.
Felipe went back in to say him and Emil Hirsch, another same story. A plane crashes and they're trying to escape lions. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe I don't know. That's weird. But she was also in Reagan, a film called Ick. Also, the Dresden Sun. So that's just in 2024. It seems like she's been working several films per year for a while now. Since she first popped up on the radar. Just that some just haven't broken through so well. Let's get into this next one. So I didn't even know anything about this one. This one is called Con Mum, and it seems to be a Netflix documentary. So a chef's life is upended when a jet-setting, champagne-sipping, hotel-hopping woman claims to be his long-lost mother. This documentary reveals the untold story. And it's directed by Nick Green and premiered March 25th, yesterday on Netflix. So what can you tell us about this, Cornelius?
Okay. This guy is like gold. He's a British pastry chef. Either look his mom up, or all of a sudden his mom came back into his life, or whatever. One spoiler about this is actually his mom, but it goes
I mean,
from
I don't know if you could spoil something based on a true story,
I know, but
but
yeah, but how it plays out,
Mhm,
everything plays out real interesting. She goes to this hotel and everybody knows her and everything, and it seems like it's real because everybody that he comes in contact with her actually knows her and thinks she's friendly and everything. But
mhm,
overall, it ends up being like a con. They go to Switzerland and she kind of cons him out of some money and was going through it
mm,
and conning his friends out of money. And the only thing that was real interesting about this is you don't really know how long she's been a con artist, but she is his biological mother. And that's the only thing that was like the whole time I was watching this, that was kind of throwing me off. I just thought it was a stranger, and she knew so much. Whenever he came in
mhm,
contact with her, she knew so much about him and everything. And what happened is, she left him and his dad, in German, because his dad was military, in a German hospital, and he's raised by his dad and his stepmother, and didn't have any contact with his mom at all. You don't really
mm,
find out anything from his dad about, his dad's point of view, because I think his dad might have been abusive. But to me, it was like a real interesting story. I kind of wish
mhm.
this is one of those to where I kind of wish it was like one of those documentary series to kind of do like a little bit more in depth. But
Mhm.
what it is real interesting.
Yeah, so that's cool, man. That's a wild story because I think the hardest part would just be her to get in there because I'm like, yo, most kids are usually raised by their mom if there's a
Yeah.
one parent deal. So you know what I'm saying? They definitely would know their mom. So that's kind of crazy. It's
But
a
really,
wild situation.
yeah, but when you look at it, I was kind of really questioning the whole time. I was questioning, was that his real mother or not? But
Mhm.
got to find out that it is his mother. But she's just a piece of work. That's all.
So let me see. Let's get into this next one. Honestly, I forgot to mention that I saw this film before we started doing this, and pretty sure we didn't review this. But The Brutalist, you
Oh,
know,
okay.
this is Oscar award-winning film. I think Brody got best actor for this thing.
Yes.
Which makes it his second one. That's crazy, man. I think he got one for the pianist, right? I think that was his first one. And I remember him, I think his speech, he was saying, like, I've been here before. And they were trying to play the music and get him out of there. I
Yeah.
saw like that clip. And he's like, yeah, I've been here before. Like, relax. But yeah, man, this film was pretty interesting. So came out last year, in the fall. But this film, escaping post-war Europe, visionary architect Laszlo Toth arrives in America to rebuild his life, his work, and his marriage to his wife, Ezra after being forced apart during wartime by shifting borders and regimes. On his own in a strange new country, Laszlo settles in Pennsylvania, where the wealthy and prominent industrialist Harrison Van Lee Buren recognizes his talent for building, but power and legacy come at a heavy cost. And film stars Adrian Brody, directed by Brady Corbett. Also, we got Felicity Jones in here, Guy Pearce. And let me just get the main ones. I think those are going to be most of our main players in this film. Shout out to Isaac D. Bankole as well, and Emma Laird also in this thing. And but basically, man, this story, I thought this was a pretty good film, man. For the most part, I enjoyed it, even though I got to it late. So watching it at home, and I got time, when the intermission come, I actually could, get up and take a break, which was kind of cool that they put that in there. And it's funny because there's a clock in that intermission screen that's counting down, telling you how long the intermission is going to be. Because this thing is pushing in at over 3 hours of film here, and like I said, it tells the story of this guy coming to America, and they're fleeing the war. It's persecution for being Jewish and all that, but he gets a job, and comes to find out, I think it's one of his cousins brings him in, to work at his company, doing work, for him, design work. I guess this
Design
guy does
furniture.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's selling furniture, but he's also can do home customization stuff, contracting work, and they get interestingly enough, he gets a gig, for this wealthy guy. His son calls him in to rebuild this study and library while he's out of town. The guy comes back early and blows up. He's got a sick mother in tow with him. And he's like, yo, who told you to do this? And like, we're working for your son. And, pretty much fires him, says they're not going to get paid and all this crazy crap. But I think after my man settles down and sees what they've done, and he's getting, this magazine feature, he decides to hit them up and like, hey man, my bad about, reacting like that. Why don't you come work for me? And the story kind of goes from there. I think at its core, this film is kind of about a kind of exploitative relationship between a patron and their artist, in a way. So in one hand, it is giving Laszlo work and helping him to reestablish himself and gain back what he's lost from being in this war, kind of establishing himself in America and building up a career here. But at the same time, it's under the thumb of this guy that's like it's crazy because there's a flip that switches before we get to this other controversial scene. But before that, it's like slowly small little steps. Like this guy's kind of subtly like imposing himself on every aspect of Laszlo's life, like where he should live, who he should hang out with, and how he should do this and that, and then also starting to not,
There's a lot of
respect,
racism happening too in this.
yeah, that too, yeah,
Yeah,
the Jewish thing, you got that going on, and then just not respecting, what you initially hired him for the work to do. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like this Laszlo becomes his prestige piece I could show
yeah.
off, and I think Laszlo picks up on that. And then it goes from there, man. But for the most part, I think there were some really solid performances in this film. Especially Brody's always good, but I think the standout here really for me was Guy Pearce, man. He was just kind of this guy that, like I said, man, before that sinister turn happens, he's very charismatic. You get the sense that he's pulling for this guy. Of course, it's advantageous to him, but he's also initially putting this guy in position, to do great. And then, the film starts doing the film things, and it's wild, man. It gets crazy, man. What are some of your thoughts on this, man?
Man, this film gets deep. Um,
Hmm.
Even though he's an architect and everything, and where he came from, he was pretty much the man.
Yeah.
He
Hmm.
pretty much has to, come here and show how good he is.
Hmm.
But at the same time, he's not really respected at all. He's being
Nah.
really he's being used the whole time.
Yeah. He
And
definitely.
and
He
like I said, it's a
definitely.
lot of like anti-Semitism that's happening
Yeah.
through this. He's being kind of undermined because of but because him being Jewish and foreign and
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah,
By the
it
end,
feels
everything
like
just
he's
hits the fan. Everything,
yeah, it feels
everything
like
just
he's
hits the
being
fan after all the manipulations and stuff that Guy Pearce's character is pulling. I saw this during Christmas, and this was one of the screeners, one of the many screeners I had back during Christmas, Corey. So I,
Mhm.
I watched this at home.
Yeah, yeah. It feels like he's an outsider, like every step of the
Yeah,
way. Even when
yeah,
he,
yeah.
even when he gets in charge of the big project,
He
it
still
feels
doesn't
like he has a
belong. He's
he's got
not
to fight.
trusted.
Yeah, he's got to fight for every inch that he
Yeah,
gets out of this man. And then there's the scene, man, that I'm surprised no one's talking about, bro. When he goes with his boss to Italy to get this stone out,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
this film to me, this scene felt a little bit excessive to me. It's like it's a metaphor, but I feel like you've already made this point in the film so far. This was just being an extra level of mean that we didn't need,
yeah,
but he's sexually assaulted pretty much. Basically, they're trying to say, yeah, you're getting fucked by the boss,
yeah,
literally
yeah,
and
yeah,
figuratively.
yeah,
And I'm like, yo, this is crazy, man. You didn't need that. Well, I will say this, man. I gave this film, I think, overall a 3.5 in my review. I almost went 4 stars because I don't think that second half is as powerful as that beginning, man. Like
it
when it's
is.
building up,
Yeah, I
like
agree.
because the back end, I think the back end gets a little bit kind of confused about what it ultimately wants to say about this stuff, and then we get what's her name's blow up, confrontation with the boss, Felicity, when she runs in there. I was like, I get it, but this is a little wild and a lot this too late,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
things
yeah,
like by now I'm just like, all right, man, when is this guy just gonna go on in his life? And then we get this kind of cap of the scene where at the very end where they're having this big review and he's finally getting his accolades at the end of his life. So I don't know, man. I think that might have could have been handled a little bit differently. There's probably a point, maybe at the 30 minutes remaining, where you probably could have ended this film a little bit more neatly, and it conveyed everything. But with that said, man, I think this thing did a really good job. The cinematography was great in this thing, and the way this thing looked, like there's a scene, that train wreck scene, man. I had to rewind that to see because at first I'm just like I'm sitting back far, my screen is a little blurry, and you see, and then I'm like, hold up, like this did that just happen? Like this train wrecks, and it leads to a really big plot point that's in that middle part of the
yeah,
film.
yeah.
But I had to rewind it and really look at it because at first I'm hearing the music and I'm just being hypnotized. I'm just seeing the smoke and and then I finally focus. I was like, yo, there's a train down there, and you see the train derailing, the sound, like the sound. This thing, honestly, it has
But
probably
a but
my
but
most.
for the budget it was made on,
Mhm.
it's a masterwork. Yeah,
Yeah. But I was gonna say this thing has my favorite score of 2024, man. I don't think another film's music was as impactful and as haunting as this film's was. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely stood out to me. Yeah, yeah. The budget, yeah, like you said, the budget, yeah, they did a great job. There were some complaints. I think they used AI for some of the design work, in that, and I think they were saying that they might have tweaked it, using audio AI on his voice, to
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of get him to have more of a genuine accent. But I don't know, man. I guess you could nitpick, but it didn't take me out the movie, and we gotta
yeah, yeah.
this
I
stuff ain't gonna go away. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
and if they're using it in this way, a film that has a smaller budget, using it in a way to give them
Enhance
tools
it.
to complete the film. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And yeah, then let's go, man. Like it doesn't bother me,
yeah.
not at all. But yeah, let's just get into the next one. So I did see Black Bag. Also saw that today too, man. So
Did you
this
make the
one
see
is
Ash?
yeah.
You saw Ash also?
Which one?
Ash.
No, I didn't see Ash. I didn't
Okay,
make
okay.
Ash. So I'm gonna try to get that one in. But I got a Black Bag. This is the latest one from Steven Soderbergh. And this budget on this seems crazy, man. For what they said, this was a 50 to $60 million film. It didn't seem like it. In this film, when his beloved wife Catherine is suspected of betraying the nation, intelligence agent George Woodhouse faces the ultimate test: loyalty to his marriage or his country. And this film stars Kate Blanchett. We also got Marissa Bella, Michael Fassbender, Pierce Brosnan, Naomi Harris, Reggie Jean Page. This is actually a pretty good spy thriller kind of thing, man. Because
Okay.
It's a small film, man. I don't know, man. This isn't Mission Impossible. This is not the end of the world type thing. We've got some. It's like a power grab going on at this job. All of these people I just mentioned work for the same intelligence agency. I'm not sure. They never really say the name, but it definitely feels British. Um, the way the story gets going is Fassbender gets tipped off that there's a mole amongst the ranks of all these people. So, interestingly enough, he stages a dinner party to kind of fill out who might be the person that could possibly be the liar or more susceptible to be this thing. And in the course of having this dinner party, he finds a clue that kind of implicates his wife in a bigger plot. So pretty much he finds out that his wife is involved in some things, and like the story said, do I choose my wife or my country, man? And it kind of goes from there. I don't want to spoil any twists and plots, but I thought this was really good, man. This, like I said, it didn't feel like a big end of the world movie. It felt like a TV episode two-parter kind of thing.
Okay,
You know, if
okay.
this was a show about spies, this would be kind of a story loop that's going on in there, and it's pretty damn good, dude. This is not going to be, high action-packed film, but I think this is probably one of the most adult kind of spy things I've seen in a minute. Like it's really mostly based on dialogue and cunning cat and mouse and just head games. You know what I'm saying? Like because Fassbender, he's going to be our main guy. Him and Blanchett, they kind of carry this film, and all these other characters are involved. And there's some really good like interactions, man, between the characters. Because Naomi Harris, crazy, her character is kind of their psychological evaluator for all of these agents from all of these apartments, and even she gets sucked into it with some of the. There's a scene with her and Kate
Naomi
Blanchett.
Harris is Money Penny from
Yeah, yeah,
okay, okay,
from the
yeah,
Bond.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, she's good. She's really good. I always like her and stuff. But there's a really good scene with her and Kate Blanchett, and they're just sitting down, just talking about not even the spy stuff. And there's a lot of scenes like that in this film, man, where you just like, wow, like that was good. Like nothing like crazy happened, like as far as like the, punching or fighting or yelling or screaming, but just these subtle, really good dialogue exchanges and this cast, man, that's good enough to deliver this subtlety. They're not ham-fisted like I'm trying to think like Al Pacino yelling or like
Yeah,
barking. It's
yeah.
just really, really subtle, like facial ticks and just really good acting and scenes, man. And one thing I do appreciate about this thing, man,
Almost
it's
like
got
if
a
you're watching like a Mammoth type film or something. You think?
yeah, something
Okay.
like that. I would say, man, and just really tight with that. And this film is only like I think it's hour 33 minutes. It's not dicking around, man. You know what it reminded me of, dude? And Fassbender's in that too, but what was that film? The Killer. But that film kind of reminded me of that in a way that this wasn't that guy's end of the world mission either. It's just something that
Okay.
happened at work and it got resolved. Like he gets to the end, remember, and he's like, yeah, man, so don't do that again. He's like, hey, you got it. And that was it. And then Fassbender goes back to his vacation. And this film kind of goes through those kind of motions, man. It's just it feels so intense, but then the ending is just like, yeah, all right. So how about Monday? What do you got on deck? Like it's so crazy, man. And you gotta imagine, I think people that are involved in this work, I think that's pretty much how most of the daily interactions go. There's probably stuff that's happening, some willing and dealing, and maybe some versions of disasters, but a lot of it is also, kind of in this melancholy, uneventful pace. It's like, damn, we almost blew this country up, but all right,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
to the next day. What are we gonna do tomorrow, fellas? Like it's crazy, man. But yeah, this is really well done, man. I don't know how he shot it. I don't know if he shot it on the phone, but it looks good, man. There's some crazy lighting stuff that he's doing that I usually don't see in films. I think some films shy away from that stuff, but he's kind of embracing that flaw, and it becomes an aesthetic that boosts some of these scenes, especially they're singing at the dinner, and this candle lit like inside, and it's crazy. It's causing interference with the camera, and like I said, I think most productions would try to minimize that, and he just embraces it and adds it to the shot. There's the same thing. There's something going on too with The Office, the same kind of thing. And but yeah, man, this thing's dope, dude. Like he's good, man. I fuck with Soderbergh, bro. It's making me thinking about going back to catch the ones I haven't seen,
Yeah,
because he's got a lot of movies, man.
yeah. He's made a lot of films. I plan on watching Logan Lucky this week, and I
Mhm.
was trying to go try to catch Black Bag sometimes, next week when I'm off. This is the second film of the year, and I guess this is the only two films he's going to release this year. But
Mhm.
between this and Presents, which one is your fave?
I'm gonna say this one, man. I think this
Okay,
one, just because the story is slightly bigger, even though it's not a huge story. They do go international locales, but it's mostly Europe. They're bouncing around, and but this is a bigger story, and I think also because of the other actors we get in here, other than just that one family that we have in presence. But I think they are both great additions to his filmography. Like
okay.
if we're going to give him a score, he's 2 for 2 for 2025 right now. You know what I'm saying? He's doing good, man.
Yeah,
No.
no sudden move. I love when he did that on HBO. A
Hmm.
couple. That's when I kind of hate it happened. I guess it was a year after COVID, like 2021. But
Hmm.
I hate that they didn't release that in the theater.
Was yeah, that's when Don Cheadle had that accent, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Him and
yeah.
Benicio del Toro just hated each other. Like, yeah.
Next one we're going to talk about is Magazine Dreams, and there's some controversy behind this, of course, with Jonathan Majors and his troubles, especially recently. Man, there was, I guess, some recording that came out, but it's kind of wild because I feel like that evidence was already out there, and the timing of his reveal is real interesting. But this film is directed by Elijah Bynum, magazine Dreams. And in this film, a man looks after his ailing grandfather while trying to make it in the world of professional bodybuilding. And this film stars Jonathan Majors. He's our main guy that we see most of this film through. Yeah, so we've also got Harrison Page, who plays his father in this. And we also get Harriet Sansom Harris, who plays what appears to be a social worker that's checking on his well-being. Haley Bennett also has a great scene in this. We also get Taylor Page. She has a brief appearance in this. And Mike O'Hearn, who plays Brad Vanderhorn, who is the bodybuilder that this character models himself after. So
Okay.
Jonathan Major plays Killian Maddox in this film. And this character is really interesting, man, because they never really explain what his hangup is, man. But on some ways, he's definitely, kind of a social outcast, has a hard time relating to people and just connecting with people in general, man. So this guy's mostly isolated for most of his life. He takes care of his grandfather. His parents are dead in this film, and later on in the film we find out, how, which is kind of tragic. But other than that, man, he works at a grocery store. That's how he makes extra money, and I guess whatever they're getting, he's getting from the social services to take care of his grandpa, or so he kind of manages that stuff for him because I think his grandpa is a little disabled, as well, like he's on oxygen. But this thing is wild, dude. There's a little bit of a mishmash of some kind of character studies, man. I'm getting a little bit of flashes of Taxi Driver, except that characters, their motivations are totally different. Travis
Okay.
Bickle and this guy are just way different. Like Bickle's just too conscious, too aware, like you know what I'm saying? But our character, you know, through his isolation, and it's just really just how he is, man. And it's kind of weird how I think his ultimate goal, at least it comes off across to me, is to be seen, and that's why he pursues his bodybuilding career. He's really good at it, man. So that gets me into Major's performance, man. This thing is probably one of the most tremendous efforts I've seen in recent years, man. Like this dude, I don't know. It's going to be hard to top this performance for 2025. Like he went in physically, like he has the look, like which is crazy, man. Like we get wild when Hugh Jackman bulks up for Wolverine, but I think
Mhm.
this is a more different effort. You know what I'm saying? That's going on in this film. Also, just his performance overall, man. There's such a wide range of emotions, man, and he's not. It's not like this is a malevolent character. People that are acting like this guy, display some of these just characteristics. This is beyond just social awkwardness. I feel like there's another layer to him that's also keeping him from connecting with people, man. And it's never really explained in the film, but he is what it is, man. Like there's a moment where he goes out on a date with this woman from his work, and you're just like, whoa, this is kind of cool, you know. He's actually connecting, but then as it goes on further on the interaction, you start to cringe, yo, and you're just sitting in your seat, just like what am I watching? I mean, you know what you're watching, but seeing this meltdown and seeing and it happens several times in this film where this character is just like at some points you feel sympathetic for him, but then there are times where you're worried about the other person that's interacting with them in this moment,
Oh,
man.
okay.
And he's so good. Like you can't look away, man. Like this guy was born to do this job, dude. And I've seen it since early in his career, man. Like even when I watched Last Black Man in San Francisco, that was the first thing I seen him in, and it kills me because that's even a master class. The fact that this guy's quiet for most of the movie, and he has one scene that's about 5 minutes long, and it carries the, it's just crazy, man. So it's very rare that you could get someone that could do that, and yeah, sometimes writing can inspire these type of performances, but this is more than the writing, and the writing is really good here, man, because even when he's not, at front and center, the other stuff that's going on with these other characters is really good. So that's you gotta definitely attribute a lot of this to his personal talent, man. I think this thing is kind of tanking on the box office wise, but I could definitely
Yeah,
see
because of
people.
personal things that's going
Yeah,
on with him. I
but I
think.
could also see, but also this film is a low budget film. I think the people who are distributing it, they're not really big distributors, so that's also something. A big distribution company doesn't, like a small one, doesn't really have money to put a lot into advertising, things like that. Because there's a lot of people who, I mean, especially like me, that are probably going to see this regardless, just because I think this guy's that good, dude.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and like and also, man, I don't know, man. It's just my personal belief. I gotta see like I gotta see a pattern, bro. And if this guy is really staying out of trouble, boom. If something else happens, then it might be a little bit more
yeah, yeah,
difficult to justify me taking a leap on this film. But as a person that loves film and performances, and for the most part, I usually can separate the artist, from the art. And there are some lines that I'm not going to see probably a R. Kelly movie, like some stuff like already like I have my own limits, man. But 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 outside of that, man, this thing, it blew my mind, dude. It's definitely one that I will probably add to the collection and retread and rewatch it, man. Because I'm telling you, bro, that scene with that date, it's nuts, man. It's just like, yo, what is happening? There's another scene where he had some painters come to his house, and his dad was like, yo, they kind of did a shitty job. I think they need another coat in certain apartments. And he calls the paint company and they blow him off. And it's crazy because he's calm, he's reasonable, and maybe that was a problem. He was too calm, too soft
yeah,
spoken,
yeah,
and they kind of didn't. And he goes and blows up over there, and that leads to other problems later. Man, this movie is crazy, bro. Like his character is just a nut, man. I can't describe it, yo. I can't. But I definitely think that it represents real people that are out there and just going through life like this. You know what I'm saying? Like I run into them all the time, dude. I feel like sometimes and you just see someone and they're just like somewhere else, man. And they're
yeah,
out there
yeah,
among
yeah,
us. And it's crazy, man. And like I said, this film takes you on a ride, bro. It's one of the most wildest character examinations I've seen in a minute. The cinematography is there, the score, the all that, but every scene feels like it matters, man. It does get. I think maybe some of the critique can be leveled at what is the ultimate message of this film? What does it mean? And I think I wrote in my written review that maybe that's the point. Maybe we as an audience are supposed to come up to our own conclusions of this film. But I think at its core, the film is about that human attachment or just human connection. You know what I'm saying? And there's people out there that never connect, man. And it's easy to get overlooked. You know what I'm saying? If you're just
yeah,
out here just living a normal life and it might not be no fault of your own, man. And maybe you just don't have no friends. You don't have no family. Like this guy doesn't have parents. So maybe there was a degree of social skills that he never, learned,
Mastered.
but
Yeah.
yeah, mastered. And then, it's kind of tragic too, because toward the end, his dream of this bodybuilding thing gets shattered in ways, and you're just like, damn, what is this guy gonna do? And then there's subtle shit. Like at one point in the film, this guy's on point with his diet, and then toward the middle and the end, you're seeing him eating more and more junk, like just not caring. And like this, dude, this thing has some crazy subtlety to it. I can't say it's probably the best thing I've seen, but I'll put it this way: I would rate the film
It
itself probably a
affects
three.
you're affected by it.
If I give this film, I would give it a three, dude, straight up, just for what is here. But Majors makes this thing a four easily, four and a half
Okay.
possibly, just because it's what he's doing in here is just it's just crazy, man. It's amazing, dude. Like I can't explain it, man. You got to see it yourself. And I'm coming off like what really made me go and get this in. I was listening to Chris Lambert's Mundane Festival. He reviewed it, and I was like, "All right, bro,
But
I gotta go
if
check
he
this out."
enjoyed it, you want to
Yeah,
witness it. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I was gonna see it anyway, but that just made me more enthusiastic to like, all right, bet, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of had the same things that I feel. Like I said, man, this guy, like I've rooted for him since the beginning, man. So, and I like the work, man. Like it's a tough thing to work to think about, but I don't know. Maybe he caught a raw deal. And like I said, I'm looking for a pattern, man. He stays out of trouble, then he probably should get a chance to come back. I mean,
Yeah.
Sean
Yeah.
Penn, still out here making movies. He's also been Oscar nominated, and there's other guys that
Robert
kind of have
Downey
been in,
Jr.
yeah, guys that have been in similar
Several guys. Yeah.
yeah, similar situations, and that's not been brought up. Sean Connery said you should slap a slap a woman every now and then,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and he probably get a fucking lifetime achievement award Oscar. So I mean, who am I, like, but like I said, man, if he continues to wild out, then maybe there's be a case for like, all right, this guy doesn't deserve a career, but this thing was crazy, man. If you like films, you like performance driven films, this is this is it. And that takes me back to when now that I think about the Black Bag, I think that's why Black Bag was so good, man, because Fassbender is great. Like him, Kate Blanchett, they're up there they're in this realm that Majors walks around in. These are performers that could come in and make mundane films just feel bigger and more excellent than they actually are, man. And I think there's something to be said with that when because I look at actors as a tool of the filmmaking puzzle. Yeah, you've got cinematography, you've got music, you've got direction, but I think actors play a big role in this puzzle too, man. And they can shift the tide of, how work comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he definitely did that for this film, dude. Like it's crazy.